My name is Hannah Brooks. I'm 29 years old, and I've always been the one in my family who tried to keep the peace. I live in Portland now, but I grew up in a small town in Ohio where everyone knew each other, and everyone knew my family's perfect image. It's Christmas Eve. The living room smells like cinnamon and pine, the fire is crackling, and my mom, Evelyn, is sitting in her favorite armchair with that usual look of quiet authority. My younger brother Kyle and his wife are on the couch, laughing about some inside joke. I'm sitting cross-legged on the rug trying to enjoy the moment, trying to feel like I belong. When it's my turn to hand out gifts, I pass around the boxes I carefully wrapped, each with ribbons and name tags. Everyone opens theirs: warm sweaters, handmade candles, small, thoughtful things I picked out after working double shifts. Then it's my mom's turn. She doesn't hand me a box. Instead, she smiles, that condescending smile that has haunted me my whole life, and says, "Hannah, your gift this year is forgiveness. Forgiveness for the way you've been holding grudges all these years. Isn't that wonderful?" The room goes silent. My heart drops. Everyone else chuckles nervously like it's a joke, but my mom doesn't break her gaze. She means it. She thinks I'm the problem, that all I have to do is forgive her, like I've been the one causing pain. Something in me snaps. I smile politely, but deep inside, I know. This is the last time I will ever sit in this room like this. Growing up, I used to think my mom was the sun and we all just orbited around her. If she was warm, the whole house felt bright. If she was cold, winter settled in, even in July. My earliest memory of her is standing in the kitchen at age 6, holding up a drawing I had made. She barely looked at it before saying, "Why didn't you color inside the lines?" "Your brother does it better." Kyle was the golden child. Always praised, always defended. When he broke a vase, my mom laughed and said, "Boys will be boys." When I accidentally spilled juice, she called me careless and made me scrub the carpet on my hands and knees. Dad, Richard, was there, but not really. He worked long hours, came home tired, and when arguments started, he disappeared into the garage. He never raised his voice, never defended me, never told Mom she was being too harsh. Birthdays were the worst. Kyle always got big parties, with balloons, cake, and family friends. Mine were smaller, quieter, sometimes forgotten entirely. When I turned 13, Mom gave me a self-help book about attitude adjustment. I learned to make myself small, to be quiet at dinner so I wouldn't be criticized, to excel at school just to hear a rare good job. Every compliment felt like a crumb I had to earn, but no matter how hard I tried, straight A's, cleaning the house, helping with Kyle's chores, it was never enough. If I cried, I was dramatic. If I got angry, I was disrespectful. So I stopped showing emotion. I stopped sharing anything real. I built a little box inside myself and put all my feelings there. It was safer than letting her see me break. Looking back, I think my mother mistook my silence for strength. She never saw that she was the one who taught me to disappear, long before I ever physically left. By the time I turned 25, I had a good job as a graphic designer and my own apartment in Portland. But every holiday, I still drove 6 hours back to Ohio. I told myself it was just tradition, that I didn't want to lose connection with my family. I would save for months just to afford thoughtful gifts. One year, I made Mom a custom photo book with all her favorite family pictures, printed on expensive archival paper. When she opened it, she flipped through a few pages, then said, "You should have chosen better photos." I looked tired, and half of these I laughed it off, because that's what I always did. Swallow the sting and try harder next time. When Dad had surgery 2 years ago, I put my life on pause to help. I worked from their house, cooked dinner, drove him to checkups. Mom thanked Kyle publicly on Facebook for being such a great son, even though he only visited twice the entire month. My name never came up. I remember one night, sitting in my childhood bedroom, crying quietly so no one would hear. I thought about how many times I had done this exact thing, burying the hurt just to keep the peace. Even this Christmas, I had worked extra shifts so I could afford something nice for everyone. I carefully wrapped everything, loaded up my car, and drove through a snowstorm just to be there. But walking into that house always felt the same, like stepping back into a version of myself I hated. The one who was always wrong, too sensitive, too much, or not enough. Still, I kept hoping that this time would be different. That maybe Mom would hug me and say she was proud. That maybe she'd notice all the ways I was trying to hold us together. Instead, it felt like no matter how much of myself I gave, the bar kept moving higher, and my mom kept holding it just out of reach. By the time Christmas Eve dinner rolled around, my chest felt tight, like I was holding my breath. Something deep inside me whispered that I couldn't keep doing this much longer. That whisper in my chest turned into a roar the moment my mom said it. "Your gift this year is forgiveness." The words echoed in my head like a bad joke. The clink of silverware on plates stopped. Kyle glanced at me, then quickly looked away, like he didn't want to get involved. I sat there, frozen, trying to process what just happened. She didn't just dismiss all the years of hurt. She made it sound like I was the one holding the family hostage, like I was the problem. Something inside me cracked. I forced a small smile and said, "That's thoughtful," just to keep the moment from exploding. I handed her the gift I had brought, a cashmere scarf I worked overtime to afford. She opened it, nodded, and moved on to Kyle's gift, laughing and gushing over the watch he had bought her. The room felt too hot. My heart was pounding so hard I thought everyone could hear it. I waited until the last joke was told, until everyone was distracted, and then I quietly stood up. "I'm going to head out," I said softly. Nobody protested. Nobody asked why. I grabbed my coat from the rack, stepped outside, and the cold air hit me like a slap. Snowflakes landed on my cheeks and melted into tears I didn't even realize I was crying. I sat in my car for a long time, engine off, hands shaking. The house glowed warm behind me, but I couldn't bring myself to go back inside. I wasn't just leaving for the night. I knew, deep down, I was leaving that life, and that version of me, for good. The next morning, I woke up in my apartment with swollen eyes and a pounding headache. My phone was full of family photos from last night that Kyle had posted on social media. I wasn't in a single one. That was my answer. I spent the next few days in silence, thinking about everything. Every cutting remark. Every time I'd been told to get over it. Every sacrifice I had made just to earn scraps of affection. And for the first time, I didn't feel sad. I felt done. I opened my laptop and started making changes. I sold the old furniture I had been holding onto for when Mom visits. I boxed up childhood mementos that still smelled like that house and took them to Goodwill. I changed my phone number. I unfollowed half my family on social media. Then I did something even braver. I quit my job. Not out of spite, but because I realized I had built my whole life around trying to prove something to people who would never see me. I found a remote freelance contract, packed up my apartment, and moved 2 hours away to a little coastal town where no one knew me. At first, it was lonely. I didn't know anyone, and the silence felt heavy. But slowly, I started filling that silence with things that made me feel alive: painting, journaling, hiking along the cliffs at sunset. I started therapy for the first time in my life. It was terrifying, facing all the pain I had been carrying, but it was freeing too. My therapist, Dr. Lillian Carter, helped me see that I wasn't broken. I had been surviving. And then something shifted. I made friends, real friends, who celebrated my birthday without being asked. I bought myself flowers just because I wanted to. I decorated my little rental house exactly how I liked it, with bright colors my mom would have called too loud. Little by little, the weight I'd been carrying for decades began to lift. For the first time, I didn't feel like I was running away. I felt like I was running toward myself. It didn't take long for the messages to start. First came the group text from Mom. Family dinner next weekend. You should come. It's time you stop being dramatic. I didn't reply. A week later, Kyle called. Mom says you're hurting her feelings by not coming around, he said, his tone more annoyed than concerned. Can't you just let the past go? She's getting older, Hannah. I almost laughed. The past? It wasn't the past when it still shaped every single day of my life. Then came the guilt bombs. Pictures of Mom looking tired with captions like, "Wish my daughter was here to help." Kyle sent me a voicemail where Mom's voice cracked as she said, I don't know what I did to deserve this kind of punishment. I nearly caved once. I sat on my porch, listening to the ocean, thinking about all the Christmases we had spent together. Part of me wanted to go back, just to stop feeling like the bad guy. But then I remembered that living like that, constantly apologizing just to be tolerated, was killing me slowly. So instead of going back, I went to a little shop downtown and bought a beautifully framed mirror. I wrapped it in brown paper and wrote a simple note. If you want forgiveness, start here. I shipped it to their house and turned off my phone for the weekend. When I turned it back on, there were dozens of missed calls and angry texts, but I didn't respond. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. It's been almost a year since that Christmas, and this December feels completely different. My little coastal town is strung with lights. The bakery on the corner smells like cinnamon rolls, and I have a new circle of friends who actually make me feel wanted. We're planning a cozy Christmas brunch at my place, something I never thought I'd look forward to. Sometimes I still think about my family. I wonder if my mom ever opened that package and looked in the mirror. Part of me hopes she did. Part of me knows she probably just threw it away. But here's the thing. I'm no longer waiting for her to change. For years, I thought leaving would make me selfish, that I'd be a bad daughter if I didn't keep trying. But leaving wasn't punishment. It was survival. I've learned that forgiveness doesn't mean letting people keep hurting you. It means setting yourself free, even if that means walking away. I look around my little house, filled with colors and music and laughter, and I feel a peace I've never known before. To anyone listening who's sitting at a table that feels more like a battlefield than a place of love, hear me when I say this. Choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's the bravest thing you'll ever do. And sometimes, the best gift you can give to people who refuse to see you is the chance to look at themselves, even if it's just through the reflection of a mirror. This Christmas, my gift to myself is simple: joy, on my own terms. And that's the best gift I've ever received.